So we fly into Guatemala City. It's beautiful. The temperature's mild. We're sitting outside, enjoying some time on the patio. And then my friend looks over at me and she's like, "Can you feel that? It's an earth tremor." I was like, "What?" I'm back. Hey there, and welcome to the Life in Germany channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Jenna. I'm a Canadian who is living in Germany. I've been here since 2014. I've got 2 kids. I'm self-employed here, and I'm married to German. If you didn't know, over the last few months, I took a little bit of a pause for myself, for my family, for my sanity. And in that pause, I actually went and spent 2 months in Canada and the month of July in Guatemala. For those of you wondering why Guatemala? Well, some of our really good friends that we actually met in Düsseldorf recently moved back to their home country in Guatemala and invited us to come stay with them and explore all the beautiful and amazing things that their country has to offer. And let me tell you, it was incredible. And I can't wait to share the experiences that I had with you guys. Let's go. 100% of the time, I found that everybody around us was smiling and looking at our children and talking to them and just downright super sweet. I have to say, right off the bat, that was the one thing for me where I was just like, in Germany, you do have to try a lot of the time to keep your kids contained, especially at the supermarket or at a restaurant or somewhere where there's somebody trying to enjoy some peace and quiet. In Guatemala, I just found like I could sit back, throw my hands up, let my kids be kids and not worry about what other people thought or about somebody coming up to me being like, "You need to handle your kids better." Unfortunately, that happens more often than you might know here in Germany. But that's not to say that there aren't many people here in Germany who also love kids. It's just in Guatemala, it's like this next level of super sweetness. Thank you so much. All right, the second shock that I experienced and that I wasn't actually anticipating was that every single day it rained and thundered and lightning, and it was so powerful that one time it thundered so hard the entire ground beneath us shook. I loved it. That is one thing that I really miss living here in Germany. We don't actually have many of these super powerful thunder and lightning storms where it sends shivers through your spine. It's like super spooky. It was rainy season and it pretty much didn't rain a single day we were there until about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. once it started getting dark, and then it would rain throughout the evening. It was so perfect. The weather for us, I couldn't have asked for better weather, and then I still got these amazing thunderstorms at the end of the day. Taking you to our next culture shock, which for me was the shock of a lifetime. I have not actually experienced anything like this, and that was my first earthquake. Apparently, it doesn't happen all that often, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, but it was the strangest experience, and I didn't even know what was happening. I kind of just thought I was like developing vertigo or something. Our friends kind of explained to us that there's a couple different feelings that you might get from an earthquake or an earth tremor in this case, and with this one it was kind of like the ground beneath us was like shaking back and forth, and it was so freaky. And then I looked over at the pool, and the pool has got waves in it despite the fact that it was still for hours because nobody had been in it. And then halfway through I kind of like looked up and was like, why am I feeling so dizzy? Like, why do I feel like the terrace is spinning right now? And then my friend looks over at me and she's like, "Can you feel that? It's an earth tremor." I was like, what? Being a Canadian living in Germany, this is nothing that I've ever experienced. So I'm on Google like trying to figure out like, what impact is this? Like, where did it come from? Am I gonna die? So talking about crazy weather, another thing that absolutely shocked me that I was not prepared for at all was the difference in climate. So I had assumed Guatemala was probably pretty warm. I checked the weather reports. It said it was gonna be somewhere between 25 and 27. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's rainy season. It's not that warm. So we fly into Guatemala City. It's beautiful. The temperature's mild. We're sitting outside, enjoying some time on the patio. We make it to our next destination in Antigua. It is gorgeous. We're exploring the old town, trying traditional Guatemalan food, doing a little bit of shopping. And then our friend said, we want to bring you down to our beach house in Lequin. It's only about an hour and a half away from here. We hop in the car, and an hour and a half later, they say, "Are you ready?" And they roll down the windows, and it's just like, it's like 42 degrees with humidity. I felt like I could barely breathe. It was night, it had just rained, and it was so unbelievably humid. But if you're in the pool, No problem. We had so much fun in the pool, and the landscape there was so different from Antigua where we just were. It was gorgeous. So one of the most uncomfortable culture shocks for me being in Guatemala was the difference in low and high income. There was quite a large gap. There was very few people who you had the feeling were in this middle income bracket. It was entweder oder, either or. And comparatively speaking, this was also similar to food and restaurants. I would say you would probably be spending about the same amount of money on a restaurant or at a grocery store, if not a little bit more at a grocery store in Guatemala than you would be here in Germany. On the other end, if you were to shop at a market, it would be significantly cheaper. So you're buying the same product, one from an open market, one from a grocery store, and the price is extremely different. So I think you're paying more for like the security and the comfort, maybe the air conditioning. You're also, of course, paying for those fruits and vegetables that are packaged in a better environment. You don't have to worry about any food poisoning. You get it. Also, another thing that I guess didn't shock me while I was there, it shocked me hearing stories before we went, but then it kind of just confirmed what I had already wondered while I was there, and that is the safety measures that people need to take in Guatemala to make sure that they are safe. We sat down and had some really cool and interesting conversations with a lot of our friends' friends in Guatemala who told us stories about their past, and just about every single one of them has had some sort of odd encounter with a police officer where they've had to pay them off or being held at gunpoint at a red light. This kind of stuff doesn't happen in Germany. So you know when I was talking in a recent video about is it safe to live in Germany, and I said that's gonna depend on where you come from. Germany is a very safe country, comparatively speaking. Living in Guatemala, these are things and daily precautions that you have to take. And one of the funniest encounters for us was when my son goes, "Mommy, I have to pee," and we're in the middle of a road trip, and our friend just passes the bottle back and goes, "There you go." And he was just like, you never know where it's going to be safe or where it's going to be an unsafe spot to stop. Our friends did say, you know, we wouldn't be this protective if we didn't have 2 children in the car as well. Not so much a culture shock, but something that I absolutely fell in love with. In Spain, a lot of people will say, you know, buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenos noches. In Guatemala, they just say buenas as a short form for all 3 greetings. I thought it was so cute, and I just pretty much spent the whole day running around being like, buenas, buenas, buenas. Okay, here are a few more odd things that were different for me that I noticed that I wrote down because I thought you might be interested too. A lot of the places that we went and visited, I don't know if this is all of Guatemala, but many of the places we visited actually had a bathroom on like a half level downstairs. So instead of having the bathroom on your main level, the door is on the main level, and then you open it up and you go like 4 or 5 steps downstairs into the bathroom. Now I asked my friends why this was, and they mentioned, well, otherwise in Canada, for example, that would just be under stair storage where you can't walk, you can't really get to anything, you just shove a bunch of junk in there. Why not build it a little bit deeper and make yourself a bathroom? Absolutely genius. Although when we're talking about bathrooms, one thing I wrote down and my friend was like, that's weird. I don't think that's true. I wrote down that the toilets flush super, super slow. They go like really, really slow, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and sucks everything at the end. The newer toilets didn't do this, so in some of like the fancier restaurants, this wasn't the case, but in a lot of the houses we stayed at, this was the case, and I thought it was super interesting. And if there was one product that I would have to bring back home with me, it is absolutely 100% their dish soap. They have this dish soap in like a little petri dish kind of, and it's a paste, but you use the sponge and you just kind of like wipe it over the paste, and that paste lasted us the entire trip. Like this tiny little container would have lasted us months. It was amazing, and I thought, oh my goodness, we go through so much liquid dish soap in Germany. I really want you guys to bring me back this soap so that I can have some of this on my kitchen counter. Anyway, I could go on and on about how amazing this trip was, all of the things we got up to. It was a lot of fun, but I actually have been sharing that over on my Instagram account. You can go check it out there. I have saved it for now in my highlights, so you can go and check out our adventures there. And I will actually be uploading even more content in the next few weeks over on my Davis Journeys account. That's actually my personal account. I don't think I've ever shared that with you guys. So if you're interested, feel free to go check it out. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank. Thanks for watching und bis später.